This really is not the news that I wanted to see on Armistice Day. On the day that we are supposed to be honouring those who fought for this country, we find out that the Home Office, rather than honouring and taking care of those who serve this country, they're kicking them out of their army barracks. Yes, the Cameron Barracks in Scotland are now being handed over to the Home Office to house a load of random adult males who have just crossed the channel. A group of veterans have been told it must vacate a Scottish barracks in order to make way for accommodation for asylum seekers. The Cameron Barracks Regimental Association, made up of veterans with ties to the site and local military units, has recently been informed that it must leave the site in Inverness. The site in the Highland city will be used to house around 300 male migrants. This is going to be starting next month. Apparently, they're furious that they've been given barely any notice and just been told, out you get. Apparently the Ministry of Defence have agreed to allow the Home Office to use it for 12 months, and the Home Office are saying, don't worry guys, this is only for 12 months, because of course in 12 months time they will have stopped their boats and there won't be any asylum seekers that they need to house. But let's be honest, guys, we know that's not going to happen. We know it will be extended. We know how these things go. They always tell us it's temporary, and it never really is that temporary. And of course, the concerns in the community about who these random men are that are then going to be strolling around the town. And in fact, the government website has confirmed that it will be men. It won't be families, it will be men. On the government website it says the site will accommodate single adult male asylum seekers between the ages of 18 and 65. Asylum seekers arrive at the site following initial screening checks. There is also a section on here saying, how will you make sure that the community is kept safe? And they say, oh well, we do screening checks on the asylum seekers when they come across a channel. So we're really making sure that everyone is safe by doing that. They don't even have passports. You don't know who they are. You can't really screen them. And then it tells us some of the lovely things that they will, of course, get. They will receive a briefing and orientation about the site and the local community, including sessions on antisocial behaviour and road safety. Okay, I hope there's a session there explaining what consent is and that you can't look at or talk inappropriately or touch inappropriately little girls, because I think some of them need that, to be honest. Now, it also says, it confirms here that it is being used for asylum seekers, and it explains why. They've tried to excuse themselves. Okay, they say the UK government has a statutory obligation to provide asylum seekers with accommodation who would otherwise be destitute. So they're saying it's our statutory obligation, it's the law. Sorry guys, there's nothing that we can possibly do. We don't have a statutory obligation to house veterans, but we do for asylum seekers, so it's not our fault. And then of course they tell us, oh, it's only for 12 months guys, it's only for 12 months. The Ministry of Defence have offered the sites to the Home Office for a period of 12 months, after which it will return to the Ministry of Defence as part of their training estates. And they say, we have committed to exiting hotels at the earliest opportunity, and in order to do this we need to stand up alternative accommodation which is better suited to this purpose. So what you're basically saying is you promised to end the hotels, basically telling voters we are gonna stop paying to house all of these asylum seekers because we're actually going to smash the gangs, we're going to stop the boats, and then there'll be fewer people coming across, so we won't need as much accommodation. You've realised you can't stop the boats, you can't smash the gangs, your little deterrent 1 in 1 out 50 a week swap isn't even working, so you've decided, well, we need to find a technical way to jump through a hoop to say that we've ended the use of hotels. So we'll just move them from places which are classed as hotels to other buildings, which still cost us money and still cause problems for safety of local communities. But technically, it's not a hotel, so we can boast that we met our manifesto pledge. Yeah, sorry, I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. Now, the amount of trouble this is going to cause for the military and for all the veterans is a little bit unclear, because it's not 100% clear when they say veterans are being kicked out of here how many actually live there permanently, and because this is mostly used as a training facility is my understanding. There's not really much information online about this. This is in the Inverness Courier, who say currently the Cameron Barracks is used mostly for army training, and it serves as the main office for Highlanders 4th Battalion, which is part of the Royal Regiment of Scotland. Now, I want to highlight this part to you. It says in May this year 11 Afghan families were temporarily housed there, but they were moved to other locations. Why? Because they needed to have full use of this facility as a training facility because of heightened global tensions. Okay, so look, if this was some Ministry of Defence building that they don't really need, it's not very important. We hear it has quite a long history with the bagpipes there, where people come on summer camps to learn the bagpipes. You might say that's not that essential, right? But so if it was just kind of withering away, not being used, then fine, I get it. But if it is the case that during a time of heightened global tensions, you desperately need this facility and it's really important for the military, I'm a little bit unsure about housing asylum seekers there. Now, it's unclear to me if this facility is used for veterans they've served their time, they're finished, they're retired, and they're providing some sort of accommodation here that would otherwise mean that they are homeless, or if the people who are permanently living there are simply permanent members of staff here, and then the other people who are accommodated in the barracks are just people coming on short-term training trips there. Not 100% sure, so it's a little bit unclear how much of an outcry this is in terms of, is this going to put veterans on the street. But what is very, 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 very clear, no shadow of a doubt, this government and the Home Office care more about asylum seekers than they do veterans, than they do our armed forces. Okay, it's clear as day. It is clear as day at this point, and I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. I was absolutely infuriated when I saw that in Dover, right at the time that they were holding their Remembrance Sunday service, you just had to turn your head over to the harbour and you saw hundreds and hundreds of migrants coming in who will all be housed and fed, no problem whatsoever. But veterans that are homeless, there might have even been some homeless veterans there at the service. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I think it's despicable. I think it is embarrassing that as a country we have got to that point. Here's a nicer aerial view of the site. I think it looks lovely, to be honest. I don't think that looks like a bad place to live at all. A lot of people say that the places that we house asylum seekers are really horrific and inhumane, and maybe they should get a human rights lawyer to say how awful it is, but it looks pretty nice to me. It looks a little bit like a castle, some of it, to be honest. Let's take a look at some of the fallout that we've heard so far about this. So apparently it's sparked anger among veterans, no doubt, who say the barracks are a symbol of Highland military heritage. This site has a lot of history. This site, in fact, the military, they built it from scratch themselves. It was used the first volunteers in the First World War. They all congregated here. They also used it to detain conscientious objectors. And also wounded soldiers towards the end of the war would come back through here, stay there, be treated, and so on. And now, as I said, it's got a long history with regards to the bagpipes. Let's get that photo of them there in the courtyard there with their bagpipes. So a lot of just for historical reasons, a lot of veterans are very upset about this. Highlands and Islands, Conservative MSP, can't get my mouth out, that rhymed. Edward Mountain said, quote, "It's deeply disappointing that veterans of the Queen's Own Highlanders are being forced out of their historic base to make way for this ill-thought-out plan. These are men and women who have served our country with distinction, and they deserve far better treatment." I could not agree more with that. Now, of course, there is a chance that this is going to cost less money than hotels. We hear that is one reason why they are considering barracks instead. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is it worth it if it saves money and it's cheaper than hotels? Or should we be keeping this site for the Ministry of Defence for their training and for any veterans that are living there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already so that you can stay up to date with all the news.